Are you looking for an OBD2 scanner that does more than just scan basic OBD functions at a budget price? This might be the product that you're looking for, and we're gonna find out. Hello and welcome back to Gears and Tech. I'm really excited today to bring you a product review. Now this is the Mucar CDE 900. This is a OBD2 scanner, but it is upgradable, and they claim that it gives you access to more than just your basic OBD2 system. So it claims to communicate with your TCM, your PCM, your ABS system. I think even your TPMS, your tire pressure sensors. I don't know. I would be surprised because this is under 100 Canadian dollars. So this is surprising to me, and the reason it's surprising is if you've watched any of my videos and you've scrolled down through the description, you would see in the bottom somewhere, actually probably in the middle somewhere, it says this is the scanner that I use for all of my cars. And there's a link to a MaxiDAS vehicle scanner. Now that one is a dealer level scanner. It gives me access to every module on every car that was pretty much ever invented. Not only that, that one also gives me two-way communication. So I can pull up live data of sensors, and I can actually manipulate sensors, turn them on, turn them off, perform resets, and all kinds of other functions. Now that scanner is about $1,000. When I bought it, I paid actually closer to $1,200, but I've had it for a couple years, but it has been completely invaluable. That means super valuable because I have the ability to do all of my own diagnostics before I'd perform any repairs on a car, at least when it comes to like engine and tuning and that sort of thing. So this product was presented to me as something that could potentially replace that scanner. So I have a special treat because my truck has a ton of errors that are coming up. I have an airbag warning light, I have a check engine light, I have a tire pressure monitoring system light. I got pretty much all the lights you can have on your dash. I want to see if it will actually tell me what's wrong with those systems as well, or just give generic codes. So we're going to give this a run through all of the functions in person in this video. So the first thing we need to do is open this up. Some silica gel. This is a USB-C connector, which will allow me to do updating and everything through the computer. I'm surprised. Most cheap products will use like a micro USB. It's just maybe cheaper because you can get those ports for a lot less than what a USB-C port is. But this actually has value to me because I can charge a cell phone with it, my PlayStation controller. You can do a lot with a USB-C cord. There is a user manual, which is very thin. The user manual looks like it has a lot of what the back of this box had on it. You can compare those two to see. Some of the features of this are, and it says on here, 4-inch display with a 480 by 854 resolution. That's actually really nice. We'll boot it up and we'll see how clear it is and how crisp it is. It has OBD diagnostic cable. Length is 1.2 meters long and supports 9 to 18 volts. So that's, you know, plenty long enough to plug it into your car and hold it comfortably while you're sitting in your seat. It does have a expansion slot down there as well as the USB-C port. So I assume that we can plug this in like that, perform an update. Maybe we'll plug it into the computer before we go and just see if it does anything. There's also a micro SD slot, which it says it supports up to 256 gigabyte memory card. It does not come with the micro SD card, so all of the necessary files should be on the device already. One complaint that I would have about this is this cable is fixed in here, so it does allow it to be a little bit smaller. However, if this cable were to become damaged, this entire device would become useless unless you could repair or fix this cable. Now I could probably repair it, so I'm not too worried about it. And I've never actually had a cable fail, even on my other devices that had a removable cable. I've not had to replace it. So it might not be a big deal, but it is something to consider. This is fixed, it's this big, it doesn't compact any smaller. So I'm gonna plug it into my computer, just see if it comes up with any updates. Actually, forget about that. Let's just go out to the car. Now, in Canada, it is freezing cold right now. I'm going to brave the elements to bring this review to you to see if this thing's any good. So let's go out to my car. We're going to plug this in and see what we find.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.
We're going to have a look at all my warning lights. So you see service airbag, we see service tire monitoring system, service airbag, and my fuel economy. So there's my airbag warning light, there's my check engine light, and there's my TPMS light. This device has booted up now. So unfortunately this is going to be more or less just a shot of my knee looking at stuff. There's a new generation of OBD2 code reader, bigger, faster, stronger. It has a 4-inch large screen color display, the latest upgrade to 120 data streams, Android Smart operating system, running fast. Please connect to Wi-Fi to update the latest software. The manual can be found in settings, repair info, instructions. That's cool, it's Wi-Fi enabled. So it's going to walk us through a full method. So look at that, it even says plug it in. Okay, it's been plugged in. Now we want to read codes. Okay, excellent. That actually read the codes very fast. So we've got P0700 transmission control system, which it reports a MIL request. That's a malfunction indicator light. Now it wants network connectivity. So let's go connect to Wi-Fi. So I've connected to my Wi-Fi connection. So now let's pull the engine codes in progress. And if I say, it's got a report function. So if I say generating report, so now it's got a report generated. So this is pulling up the VIN number of my car, professional report, EOBD, and then I can tell it to email it or PDF it. Let's try to email it. Report. Okay, so I'm going to email this to myself. I'm going to hit send. It says it's sending it. Report was successfully sent. Now let's see what happens when I pull up a PDF. So this is what the PDF would look like. Transmission control system, MIL request, quantity 2, input turbine speed sensor A circuit, no signal. So those are the two errors that I have. And then I can share it over Bluetooth or email. I already shared it over email, so I'm okay with that. What I'm surprised about is that I don't get more details here to tell me what the error is. That's surprising. Now also you'll see transmission control system MIL request. That says current, and then I also have one pending. So that means it's very active, and it is. And then same with this P0717, current and pending. So these are OBD2 errors. So that's just doing a regular OBD2 communication. But I do have a button here, ECM, SRS, TCM, and ABS. What happens if I push that? Aha. So there it is. If I push that, then it says, okay, that's $40. I don't know if you see that there. $40 to add ECM, which we already have, SRS, so that would read my airbag issue, TCM, transmission control module, and ABS. So if I wanted to be able to scan all those, there's an additional $40 charge, or there's a T-code exchange. So if I hit buy, then I can enter my credit card and I can say yes, and then I can send this company my credit card number, and they would happily charge me for my credit card to make this happen. So what is the other functions? EVAP system test. Okay, what else we got? DTC lookup. Okay, so I've got, like, that code is P0700. So that is transmission control module, helps transmission decide when and how to shift by collecting information from various sensors. So that explains what the P0700 is. What I don't understand is, why does it not just let me see that? Like, if it, oh, there it goes. It just needed time to think about it. So now when I push the more info button, it says P0717 detects no signal from the input turbine speed sensor. The signal may be interrupted briefly, or it may be erratic or otherwise outside of expected manufacturer settings. Now this is just a regular Google search, so you could do that yourself as well, but it is very handy having that on the device itself. Yeah, there, and it'll also do that for the P0700 code. That's excellent. Now I can erase the codes. Do you want to clear the fault codes? It will clear all emissions related diagnostic information, engine off, key on. So I'm going to say yes, and then it'll clear. So let's go up here and see if it clears. And there we go. So the check engine light, which was over here, has disappeared, and this cleared it. Now if I scan this again, I should see no codes, so no fault codes at all. I can see freeze frame data, and again there's none of that because I just cleared the car. Now let's check out the live data stream, see what options are in there. So number of DTCs, that's trouble codes. There's 0 right now because I just cleared them all. Absolute load value 15%. You got my throttle position, that's a real-time readout. So if I step on the gas, you can see that number changes, and that's a percent of throttle. So if I go 100%, it would go to 100. I don't want to rev my engine in here, so it doesn't matter. Accelerator position, those will all be pretty much matched. Airflow rate, so the engine's running right now. Alcohol fuel percentage, that's interesting. It says I've got 19% alcohol in my fuel. Ambient air temperature, look at that, minus 16 degrees Celsius. I told you it was cold. Maybe my editor can put the Fahrenheit equivalent of that. Barometric pressure, calculated load. This will read my O2 sensors, so that's nice to have. Yeah, they actually look okay. So now if I click it, you can graph it. So if you leave it over time, you can see the graph is starting there. The polling rate seems to be a reasonable polling rate, so it's good enough that you could actually diagnose some things. Let's see if we've got control module voltage 14, so that tells you what the engine voltage is running at. Bank 1 sensor 1, bank 2 sensor 1. What happens if I click more? Compare sample, fuel level, fuel system status, CL, that means closed loop, so it means the engine is warm and it's actually reading sensor data and using that data to actually run the engine. You can see my timing advance, my intake air temperature. It says it's 10 degrees C. Now, the reason that's warmer than the actual air is because the truck's not moving, and so the air is getting warm under the engine. Manifold absolute pressure, location of oxygen sensors, nothing there. Long-term fuel trim, bank 1 and bank 2, all information that's useful to see actually. Oxygen sensor output voltage. So here's the one that's the most interesting. So this is helpful if you have an O2 related issue. So you can pull up like bank 2 S1. So you're going to watch that bounce up and down and up and down. This is normal. So this is a very good polling interval to see how that swings back and forth and back and forth. If you've watched my other videos talking about tuning for fuel economy, this is an important graph to understand. So what it's doing right now is absolutely normal. And then if we look at, now I'm going to go back down to where it was. So I have all 4 oxygen sensors. So this one, bank 1 S1 and bank 2 S1, you would expect a wide swing, which we're seeing there. And then you've got bank 1 sensor 2. Will it let me open it? Why is it not letting me? That's weird. So I can get sensor 1, but it won't let me pull sensor 2. I think it's just glitching right now. And so you've got options here to see it as a list or see it as a graph. This is a little bit easier to read if you wanted to read it kind of on the fly. And then let's see some of these ones. But also fuel trim. It does have a shortcut to O2 sensor text, but it says that's not supported. And then we've got settings, order, what do they want to order? So they want to sell me some packages. So currently it says 2 packages, but they're both the same package. 4-in-1 package or the 4-in-1 package. So what we found is this is actually a basic OBD2 scanner that has the ability to do more, but it's behind a paywall. So you pay for the scanner to buy it, and then you pay additional money, in this case $40 at this time, to unlock the additional features that I talked about my other scanner performing. Now, again, if you think that's a ripoff, keep in mind that this scanner is $1,000 and this one claims to do a lot of what this one does. Now, I can tell you right off the bat, the functionality of this with the two-way communication, it actually seems more like one-way communication as far as reading sensor data, which is okay. It gives you a lot of extra tools to help you just prove that the code that you're getting is legit. So sometimes it'll just say OBD2 is bad, and then you go and you just replace it. But sometimes you don't know if replacing it is truly the problem. So with this, you can pull up the live sensor data and validate, does it look like what an OBD2 scanner should look like as far as that graph, or is something wonky? If something's wonky, maybe the OBD2 is fine and the engine is actually not running right and the sensor is telling you something's not running. That does happen, and that's the reason why you can't trust a scanner alone to diagnose a problem. You have to couple it with knowledge and information. However, 8 times out of 10, sometimes it'll say your O2 sensor is bad and replacing the O2 sensor will fix the problem. So it's good to have something like this, and for only $40 to unlock the extra functions, I would love to test those. I will actually reach out to the company and see if I can get a code to unlock the extra functions so that I can do a follow-up review on how good those functions work, because as you saw, I do have an SRS error and I can't read that right now with this scanner. This scanner does read the SRS, but it's $1,000. So for $150 or less, you could have something that's a good solution for the average everyday person. So stay tuned for a follow-up review on this, but what I can tell you is the build quality of this is solid. As an OBD2 scanner, it works really well. It does have the ability to provide more details about the problem code without having to go to a phone or a computer to look it up, which is really handy. And the full color screen is also nice. I've seen some really bad OBD2 scanners that have a small screen or a text line display, and it's a pain in the butt for using them. This is pretty simple to use. It's based off of the Android operating system. As an OBD2 scanner, I would rate this a solid 9.5 out of 10. The only reason I wouldn't put it as a 10 is because nothing's ever really a 10, is it? But it is very good. As a more specific scanner, it does fall short because it has the add-on feature where you have to add more. And you start to get, once you get into like the $200 range, you start to get into other scanners that offer similar functionality. But the upgradability of this is very, very cool. Wi-Fi connectivity, it's all there. The base functions are there. With the Android backbone, they actually should have the ability to unlock a lot more features if they wanted to. Keep in mind, this $1,000 scanner that I have, it also runs on Android, and the app that runs on here, it's just an Android app. So in theory, they could duplicate a lot of that on here, provided that the processor built in and the RAM can handle the requirements for the software itself. Either way, it does seem like a very solid scanner, and I would recommend it if you think you want to pick one up and try it for yourself. I'll put a link in the video down below where you can get it. If you want this one, it's been in the links all this time. You could have bought it by now, but if you want to consider it, click the link and it will take you to this one, which is now, it's closer to like $800 or $900 now instead. So it has gotten a little bit cheaper, and it is a very high functioning scanner if you need extra functionality. Hey, thanks for watching all the way to the end of this video. We hope you enjoy the content in this video, and we'd love to have you come back. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And for those subscribers who are looking for that extra special thing that you can do to support this channel, consider joining our members group. That's where we're building this community, the Gears and Tech community, where we can all enjoy content together. You'll get special perks, which we'd love for you to check out by clicking the link down below. For those of you who are just happy to watch the video, that's okay too. You can check out some of our other content right over here, where we've got some previous videos that have already been uploaded and enjoyed by many of our viewers already. We do hope to see you again. This has been Gears and Tech. Have a great day. Glad you stuck around. So this does have a backup battery, which will hold a charge. The nice thing about that is sometimes the problem with your car is that your port has no voltage on it. So most scanners that don't have a battery require voltage from your OBD2 port for it to work. Because this has a battery, I can long press the power button and it will turn on while it's disconnected, and I can actually run it off battery to try and pull diagnostic information through the port even though it's not powering up. Now usually you're still not going to get any power to power up the computer for your communication, but it at least helps eliminate some of those issues that you might have otherwise. So again, a very feature-rich device. Subscribe to the channel down below.